All right, now let's go to a game. This is one, the next one up, the granddaddy of them all.
Oh,
I grew up in Big Ten country. You're a Big Ten guy. I'm going to go ahead and we haven't talked about this. I'm going to make the assumption this is the one for you, right? Doesn't matter who's playing. Clear the decks, 5 p.m. East. I'm sitting down. That field, the sun, the weather. For me, that's my great regret when I got out of college athletics, Dave. I wanted so badly when they opened up the Rose Bowl and it was available to teams other than Big Ten and Pac 12. I was so hoping to get a Big 12 and then I was going to walk. Never got one. This to me is my game. I love the Rose Bowl. We've got Utah, Ohio State this year.
have you ever been?
Have not.
So my last year of school, Penn State played Oregon in the Rose Bowl, and I was like, I'm going. And my dad was like, all right, we'll find a way for you to go, and my girlfriend at the time was, living in Orange County, so I had a place to stay. It was phenomenal. I slept outside, went to the Rose Bowl parade. I'll never do that again. But I've been to multiple Rose Bowls. It is as good as advertised as far as that scene, like, but it's an old stadium, BL. Like the narrowest tunnels. There's not a seat other than this, main section. Everything's bleachers. Um, it's very crowded. It's once you get there and you're like, oh man, this is, when you get to your seat, you just look out and you see those mountains and the sun, and it's beautiful. But the whole parking on a golf course, that's real. Everybody's just kind of every which way. It's different. But this game has always been the game in the sports book too, because it's singled out. It has this middle time slot. So you rush to the book, you get these early games going on. There's 3 games going on at the same time, and then nothing's going on except the Rose Bowl. So the handle is gigantic. The action is great. And then everybody gets to sit and watch it. So you're right. It's that perfect 2:00 time zone out west. It's great. And then you get the sun going down in the second half. It gets a little chilly. You dress for the second half. It's beautiful in that first half. You're like, oh man, it's the high 60s. It's wonderful. And then you're in the, low 40s and 50, and you're like, oh, I was freezing the second half the first year. Freezing. It was so cold. But this game, I mean, I was, again, looking so forward to this game if we had the full slate of guys. We have opt-outs now of this one. Can't imagine getting to play in a Rose Bowl and going, you know what? I'm good. I'm not going to play. 4. It's down to 4. Do you see this line?
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
Yeah, it's down to 4. So this one, let's take a look at this, because Utah comes in, they're hot. They struggled early. A lot of us, me included, I was on their over win total early in the season. And early on, I was like, oh my God, what is happening here? This is not the Utah team I thought. And then lo and behold, here they come. Winners of 6 straight, 9 out of 10. Cam Rising at quarterback.
We were on them consistently here on this show too. Like we would find a way to talk
twice.
about Utah. Yeah.
We had them twice. They back-to-back beatdowns of Oregon. This is a really good team that does tremendously well in bowls with Kyle Whittingham. Yes. 11-3 in bowls under him. You're going to have the entire state of Utah, except the BYU fans, are going to be in Pasadena. There is going to be a ton. Their first Rose Bowl appearance. There's a lot of things screaming Utah to me. Now, you're right. This number's moved a bunch here. I was in at 6.5. I wish I would have got in when it was 7, but I've got Utah plus 6.5 here. I like them a lot, and you mentioned it. No Garrett Wilson, no Chris Olave at receiver for Ohio State. They're still stacked. I mean, they had 3,000-yard receivers. 2 of them are now sitting out. C.J. Stroud had a wonderful year throwing to those guys. It's still Ohio State here, but this feels like all signs pointing to Utah. Talk me off Utah here.
I can't. I just think it's going to be a close game. It's going to be a hell of a scene of red, because both
a lot of red
are red, right? Like it's going to be the sight lines and the scenes before the game are going to be really wild. I don't think, I've been at the game. The crowd doesn't matter. It's just when there's 100,000 people there, which there are every time, there's just a buzz. It's just loud, period. And yes, it's cool to see more of your colors, but that won't matter. So again, I got to think about how this game plays out to the total. Now, this one is what, 64 and a half. I think this thing, there hasn't been much movement off the opener 65. It's come down a little bit. Okay. I think this thing plays to the over.
Ooh.
With both teams. I do.
You're taking a big total over here, huh?
I am, which again, I don't like doing, and I always defer to the under in these situations. But I'm looking at this now with the opt-outs. I think Utah is going to be able to, I think they're going to be able to score. Like, why can't they win this game? I think they could win this game.
I agree.
CJ Stroud, I mean, like, do you just kind of practice with the new wide receivers and throw it all together? And like, I think the concern here is the disjointed offense for Ohio State in the opt-outs. Now, they've known that they're opting out probably for a week, 2 weeks. Like, they probably told them right away. So they've been practicing. I think the game plays to the over, so that would lead me toward Ohio State now at this number, but I can't talk you off of Utah. I like Utah. I want to see a competitive game. So I'm not crazy about the side. I'm really not crazy about the total either. This is a hard one. I think sometimes when you see the numbers and they're right, like, I don't feel strongly about this at all. Do you feel strongly about Utah?
I felt pretty good about Utah at 6.5.
Okay.
That's why I hopped on them. I mean, my concerns are this. My concerns are, again, growing up in Big Ten country as an Iowa fan, I saw many times when the whole state of Iowa is out in Pasadena, everybody's giddy, you're ready to go, you've got a great team, and Ronnie Harmon fumbles 8 times against Washington. I mean, I've seen when everything's all chips in on this deal, and you go out and you lay an egg when you're not used to being in the Rose Bowl. So that concerns me a little. My post-traumatic stress from being an Iowa fan growing up in this game gives me a little bit of pause. The roles are flipped. Now it's the Big Ten team with all the speed that you always used to hear about with the old Pac-12 teams. So that concerns me a little bit. It's still Ohio State. Utah was very good, top 25 in passing yards allowed, but man, they are thin at cornerback. Just a couple weeks ago, Kyle Whittingham in bowl prep was talking about having to move guys to different positions to provide them some depth at the corner. Well, that's not where you want to be going against an Ohio State offense, again, albeit without 2 of their 3-headed monster at receiver. I just think this, though. Ohio State, when they got gashed, it was Oregon on the ground and it was Michigan just running right at them, right down their throats. What's Utah going to want to do? We just saw Utah do it to Oregon and then hold Oregon in check. So to me, you always tell me this. When you're looking for a dog on to cover, you want one that you feel can win outright. I think that's the case here. I won't be stunned at all if Utah wins this. That's why I got in just under a touchdown. Line starting to move here is concerning to me if I was going to jump in now, but I like Utah here.
Yeah, that's where I'm at with it too. I mean, that's the way I'm thinking it plays out. I think the big score capability by Ohio State is what puts that completely thought in the back of my head where it's going to go over. Like, Utah's going to be able to run the ball, and Ohio State may score in 3 plays. They may beat somebody deep and go. So I think the trade scores back and forth, and the winning team gets 35, but the other team, or gets 40. Like, somebody's running this up, and I think the other team's trade scores. I like over.
Okay.
Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, click on another video right here on the screen. And if you really liked it, consider subscribing below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon.